pyramid, or this, looks like, I don't think I have the time, I don't have the money. Those are all usually, just people pleading, saying, hey, listen, I would get in if you could answer this question for me. I could get in if you could make me feel good about this. So let me share with you guys, some just pretty standard objection stuff. Number one, I want to share with you guys, one really great expression. All right, see, objections are like a game of tennis. See, if you're not that good at tennis, the goal is to just get the ball over the net, right? When an objection comes at you, all you want to do is just bat it back. Because most of the time that someone gives you an objection, it's not the real objection. People say, and you have to treat usually the first thing that they say as a smoke screen. Everyone say smoke screen. Smoke screen. Most of the time, the first thing that somebody says is just the smoke screen for something else. If someone says they want to think about it, you do realize that's not an objection. Someone says I want to sleep on it, that's not an objection. There's something that they're not quite sure of, and if you could make them feel good about that, they would be feeling good about moving forward. See, when someone says, I need to talk to my wife, that's not an objection. All right? See, what it usually is, and here's how you can get to the real objection. Let's say I talk to someone, and they say, hey, this looks good, but I want to go home and talk to my spouse. All you want to do is you want to repeat back what they just said, but make a dumb face. All right, now we're going to practice. This is going to be interactive, right? So when someone says, I want to go home, and I want to go home, and think, let's just say, start off with think about it, right? Who here's heard that? I want to go home and think about it. Say, yeah, so I say, hey, they tell me that they want to think about it. And all I go is, think about it? Everyone say that and practice your dumb face. Think about it. Hold it. And because they gave you the objection, again, objection 101, first thing you do to an objection is when they give it to you, you bat it back, and you just repeat whatever they just said with a dumb face. Think about it. And now all of a sudden they just feel like, God, I think I just said something stupid. I need to justify myself. So they're going to go, yeah, I have to go home and do my research. Do your research? Yeah, this looks too good to be true. Too good to be true? And then they're going to say, yeah, it kind of looks like one of those pyramids. It looks like one of those pyramids. And then they go, well, yeah, and I have to, make sure that I've got the funds available. Make sure you've got the funds available. And then if they can't go any further, that's the objection. Everyone say, got it. Got it. All these people telling you I need to do my research, most of the time, that's not it. Most of the time, they just they don't have the money, they don't believe they have the time, all right? Or they don't feel like whatever you're doing is duplicatable. See, there's three things that you can take care of. And see, there's three major things, and we hear about it at the power training, that if you can answer in your presentation of the information to them, whether it be through a website, whether it be how you approach them from start to finish, if you can just answer these three questions, the average person is going to have an objection. See, the average person has three questions. Say, can I do what you're doing? Can I do what you're doing? All right, so whatever you're doing, can they repeat that? Do I have the time to do what you're doing? And am I willing to do that to my friends, family, and neighbors? Okay? That's it. So you approach them, and as long as you don't do some fancy presentation, all right, if you just were to approach them and show them the private business reception DVD, take them to a website, automatically, if let's say you put, now this is our approach, this is how we do it. We talk to someone, and this is just our way. We put them on a little 5-minute pre-recorded phone call.
Absolutely.
Okay? We just say, hey, listen, when we go to call them back, we've got their information, whether we know them or whether we don't. The first step number one, is we let them listen to a 5-minute pre-recorded phone call that gives them the gist of what we're doing. And we tell them, say, listen, I'm going to give you a quick little 5-minute overview about this, and hang on the line. I'm going to three-way it in. Tell me what you like best when it's all said and done. We put them on the phone call. That is going to pique their interest. Then they want more information. They want more information. We're going to send them to a website or get them in front of a DVD or an event. Most of the times, I'm using a website. I'm saying, great. How soon can you be in front of a computer? I never, ever, ever, ever give out the website, never give up my information until I know they're ready to review it right that second. Because here's what happens. If you give them the information, you just lost the posture. Because the only thing you can say, hey, remember that website, remember that phone number I gave you? Never give someone a sizzle call. Never give them a 5-minute call. Never give them the website, because then your only follow-up is, hey, you get to check that out yet? They go, no, you know how it's been. You know, you know what? The kids were just acting up, and I had to put them to bed. And I'll do it after that. And you call them the next day, and they say, oh man, me and the wife, we got in an argument, and I was meaning to check it out, but you know how that is. And then the next day, say, oh, I was going to check it out the next day, but I had to take the kids to soccer practice, and after that, the Dairy Queen and blah, blah, blah. People talk about kids like it's a disease. They're like, oh man, you don't understand, Caesar. I can't do this business. I got the kids. It's like, oh yeah, I was going to do that, but you know how it is with the kids, right? Are kids a blessing or are they a disease? That was, we had mixed results on that. But you've given them the power. I hold back the information until they're ready to review it. Say, hey, are you buying a computer yet? You ready to check that information out yet? Yeah, I am. Okay, where are you right now? I'm in the living room, but I got a napkin. I'll write it down. I'll go to the computer. Everyone's saying, no, not yet. You do not give it to them. Say, when are you going to be in front of the computer where I'll have you for about 45 minutes to an hour, however long? Say, oh, I'll be in front of the computer at this time. Great, I'm walking, you're in the living room, great, walk to the computer, and I'll put it in. You're ready, you've got an hour, right? Great, boom, type in your info, watch it, I'll call you back in an hour. See, everyone say posture. Don't give up your bullets, don't give them the info, because then once you do, you're at the mercy of their excuses. Hold it back now. Now, so, the dumb face is the first thing. A lot of objections can be eliminated just by keeping control of the exposure process. All right, the next thing. All right, when people give you the objection, use the feel, felt, and found. When you find out and you isolate the real objection, use the feel, felt, and found. This is old. We've heard it a million times. I've been taught by it, so many times I can't even count. All right, because it expresses empathy. Someone gives me an objection. They say, yeah, listen, right now the money's tight, or right now I just don't have the time. I've got a lot going on in my life. Say, listen, it's a 3-part. Listen, Mark, I know exactly how you feel. See, when I first took a look at this business, I felt the same way. Or when other people took a look at this, they felt the same way. But what I found is if I kept doing what I was doing, I was never going to get the time. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting change. And I knew that I didn't want to have to find myself 5 years from now still not having the time. Because are you doing anything currently to give you more time down the road? If you don't do anything different, what's going to change? Does that make sense? Yes. So feel, felt, and found. All right? Whatever they say, look, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. But what I found out was, and then answer that with a story and the reason. Okay? And what you found out. So look, I don't have the money. Look, I know exactly how you feel. When I looked at this business, I was broke. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together to eat. But what I found out was, if I didn't do something different, I was never going to have the money. What I found out is I'd rather take what it costs to get started in this business. I'd rather invest that in me, take a chance on me, so I never had to say that again. Because I don't know how you feel, but I was sick and tired of having to say I don't have the money, for a $100, $200, $300 decision. So I did something different, and it was the best thing I ever did in my life. Y'all with me? Yep. Feel, felt, and found. All right, and. These are just some simple stuff. I can go into advanced, but let me give you some stuff. When the information is done, all right? Once the information is done. So what have we've learned? Back the objection back. Play tennis with it. Okay? Play tennis. Find out the real objection. Okay? Now, if you've done a good job in setting it up with proper posture, that should limit your objections, because they should still feel like they're interviewing and they want to say the right things to make sure that they get the opportunity with you. Okay? Now, next thing is, what do you do once they actually, or you're down to it, and as far as closing, people say, well, what do I say once, when I'm done? That awkward moment, presentation's done, you guys just kind of looking at each other, just like, so you want to do it? No, you lose your posture. Don't ask what they think. You want to ask, what did you like best about what you saw? What did you like best? You want to get them to say something positive. After a sizzle call, what did you like best? After a presentation, what did you like best? And the second question is, do you see an opportunity for yourself? You want to find out if they see an opportunity for themselves. And the third question, and this is what we've been saying for years, but I put a slight spin on it. All right. The third question that we usually would ask is, well, is there anything else you need to know before you get started? Shake your head. Now, I like to throw a little extra posture on that, because I don't want them to be rejecting me. And if they're going to go home and think about it, I want them to know that I'm still thinking about whether or not we'd let them on board. So I'll throw in a little extra line. I'll say, look, well, if we decided to take you on board, if we decided to take you on board right now, would there be anything else that you need to know before you got started? If we decided to take, that way, because yeah, there'd be some stuff I need to, think about and take home and, go home and think about. There's no way I'd make a decision right now. That's fine. You can let them go. And you say, great, because we're going to need about 24 hours to decide on our end as well of whether or not we want you on our team. So that'll give me ample time to talk it up with some of my senior partners. See if I can sell you to them. But listen, real quick, you're kind of sounding a little like you have lack of confidence, so what's the issue here? All right?